Λοιπόν, παιδιά, καλημέρα. Φυσάει λίγο σήμερα. Είναι πάρα πολύ ζέστη. And what I want to show you is this. It's early in the morning as I am recording this. There's two yayades over there swimming, okay? And this beautiful beach over there. That beach here in Nafplio is called Neraki. All right. And in this video, I want to share with you the things that I did in order to move here to Greece and live my dream life. Now, those two yayades there swimming represent my ideal lifestyle. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that the first time I came to Greece was in the early 2000s. We were living in England back then. My wife is Greek. And obviously the first thing that we did is book a holiday to a Greek island. I've never been to Greece before, and this was my first opportunity to go and travel to this beautiful country. And you know, as a tourist, the first thing that you do is that you book a trip to a Greek island. So my wife took me to Milos, and I just fell in love with the whole lifestyle. And as I am staying in Milos, I couldn't help but notice that the locals, the papudas and yayades, were going for a swim early in the morning. And I could tell that they were locals. I had this vision and this daydream that wouldn't it be nice for me one day to grow old and be like that papu? So that was a vision that I had. So that's the first time that that seed was planted in my head, thinking, what a cool lifestyle to be a papu, going for a swim and then just going about your day. Simple life, simple things. And that's the first time I was started to daydream about a life in Greece. Fast forward to the time that I married my Greek girlfriend, my Greek goddess Dimitra. Guess where we went for our honeymoon? We went back to Milos. Now this second time around in Milos, we stayed for a long period of time. We stayed for more than 20 days in Milos for our honeymoon. And now I'm playing this mind game. I'm telling myself that I'm a local now in Milos. I'm pretending to be one of the locals. So I'm living in my own bubble. Some of you have mentioned that here on some of my videos, that I live in my own bubble, that this is not the real Greece, okay? But I was in Milos on a honeymoon. I just got married, and I'm pretending to be in Milos, that papu, that future version of myself. I'm waking up and going to the beach. I'm going to the same furnos. I'm staying in a certain place in Milos, and I'm like, Kalimera tikanete, therotiropita, you know, the usual things. I knew people around because it's a small place. And my wife managed to meet somebody as well that was working in a coffee shop. You know, like most Greek people, you know, they're working in the summertime. And, you know, my wife will wake up and say, you know, just carry on sleeping. I'm gonna go and talk to Maria and have a coffee with her, you know? Yes, that's Maria.
Yeah.
And it seemed like we had a life already in Milos, even if it was just for a short period of time, right? 25 days that we were in Milos. And I was playing that game. I was pretending to be living my Greek lifestyle back then. I knew it was our honeymoon. I was just daydreaming. I live in the clouds, so to speak. And I've been guilty of that throughout my life. Maybe this is not real. Maybe this is just a dream, you know? But I don't know. But I was pretending to live in Milos. And it just became so real while I was there that it made me feel so happy that this could be a possibility. And that was the original plan. The original plan was to go to a Greek island, of course. Not necessarily Milos, but you know, I was told that maybe go to a bigger island. I'm like, okay, I could do that. I had no idea about what the life in a Greek island is. No idea whatsoever. All I knew is that I wanted to live in a Greek island and be like that, those papudes going for a swim. That's it. How do I achieve that? So after our honeymoon, we go back to the UK, we carry on with our lives. A year later, my first daughter is born, Fedra. And that's when everything changed, because I said to my wife, like, this is it. You know, we're two foreigners living in the UK, we're living in London, you know, and our life has just changed completely because now we're parents, we're married, we're at the crossroads really. But sometimes in life, you know that you're at the crossroad and something needs to change. And if you don't change, or if you don't take a decision, life will make that decision for you on your behalf. So we both had jobs, we both had a life in England. And now we were just married and we had a kid. So I said to my wife, and again, this is full disclosure, the idea of us living here in Greece and the idea of us moving to Greece was mine. Because my wife, she's Greek, as you know, and she left Greece when she was 17 years old. And she went to England to study, she went to England to find work, she went to England to do what most Greeks do, leave Greece in search of a better life abroad. And that's exactly what she did. And I'm forever grateful that she did that because that's how we met. We met in England. However, I completely convinced her or trying to brainwash her that it was a great idea to go back to Greece. And not just to go back to Greece, but go to the place that she left, the place where she actually grew up, Elefsina. Now, my dream life of living in a Greek island did not manifest it. It did not happen, all right? However, I did what I wanted to do, which was to live here in Greece. At least I was living here in Greece. Of course, it's not the same to live in Elefsina than living in Milos or in a Greek island. But I was happy with that sacrifice. I was happy with the outcome because at least I was living here in Greece. And that was a big change. It was a massive change of lifestyle, going from London to Elefsina. Now, fast forward to today, I live in Nafplio. I don't live in a Greek island. My dream of living in a Greek island did not manifest it. I'm okay with that because my life turned out to be much better. I live in Nafplio, which is the most beautiful city in Greece, full stop. If you want to get in arguments about that, leave it in the comment section. There's many, many beautiful cities, there's many beautiful towns in Greece, but nothing comes close to Nafplio. Now, the first time I came to Nafplio, I came on a holiday. I was living in Elefsina and I came to Nafplio with my family on a summer holiday. And the same thing was happening again. I fell in love with this place. I saw the locals living here. I said, this is a beautiful place. How come we don't live in this place, right? That's my thought process. Now, you might call me a romantic. You might call me, as someone who lives in the clouds. Call me a dreamer, call me whatever you want. But as soon as I arrived here to Nafplio for a holiday with my family, and we were staying only for a short weekend, by the way, I said to myself, you gotta be joking, this is beautiful. And I played the same mind game. I played the same, role. Can I pretend to be a local? I mean, I see people live here. I can tell that people live here somehow. They have families, they have kids, they go to school, they have jobs. I wanna be one of them. How can I do that? And my whole mentality and my whole mindset is like, if they're doing it, I can do it too. Simple as that. They might have something that I don't have. Probably they were born here. And that's an easy excuse, I guess. You're born in a place and then you happen to live in such a beautiful location. I am not so fortunate, so I have to do something in order to move to Nafplio if that's what's gonna take. So the same thing happened. I was coming to Nafplio with my family. I came the very first time for a short weekend. The next year, on a summer holiday, guess where we went? We came to Nafplio again. This time, I'm playing the same mind game. I'm pretending to be one of the locals. Now, what happened is that not only I applied the same techniques of visualizing my life here in Nafplio, having the intention and the idea that I could live here in Nafplio, but I took that a step further. And what I did is that I was writing down my goals, and I did that for years. And I have this little black book that I will write down my goals. I live in Nafplio with my family. I live in Nafplio with my family. I earn X amount of money every single month. I had different goals, and the same is true today, right? But writing down my goals is something that really helped me visualizing and solidify that idea of living here in Nafplio. I will write down, I live in Nafplio with my newborn baby. This is before Melina was born. Melina now is 6. I'm walking through the streets of Nafplio with my newborn baby. I go to swim in the beach every single day. That vision has always been intact. That dream, right? If we don't have dreams, then what's the point of living, man? And I did that for years, man. Back then it seemed impossible, and it was impossible. We were living in Elefsina and we did not have the financial means in order to move to this beautiful place. But I never gave up hope. I always had this idea that I'm living in Elefsina. My dream of living in Greece has manifested. It's just not solidified. It's not this yet, but I will get to this soon. And the fact that I was coming every single summer to Nafplio and visualizing myself walking the streets of Nafplio and pretending that this will be my reality one day, and actually projected myself into the future, and here I am recording this video. I believe that people have the power to do whatever they put their minds to. And this is just an example of why I live here in Nafplio and why I live my life here in Greece. You know, my life has been a manifestation of my ideas and my thoughts. It hasn't been easy. This has not come easy, but my intention has been put in the ether. But that's not enough. Having an idea is not enough. Having a desire is not enough. You have to brainwash yourself and convince yourself that it's possible. Even in the face of adversity, even when people are saying to you, don't come to Greece because your life in London is better, because you have a better job. Even when people say to you, what are you going to be doing in Nafplio? There's nothing there for you in terms of employment. What are you going to be doing? There's no opportunities for your kids. And you know, I mean, you got to be so strong in the mind. You have to believe in yourself and what you want so much that all of this negativity will not penetrate your mind, okay? That your vision is intact. And this has helped me immensely because here we are. Now, it was arguably much harder for us to move from Elefsina to Nafplio than moving from the UK to Greece. Now, let me elaborate that. Our first attempt to move to Nafplio was in 2018. But you know, man, we went to look for a new place, and we went there. We thought that we were going to find a new place, and we had to actually reconsider when are we going to move. We thought like, okay, maybe in a month's time we could actually be moving. We even told the landlord that we were moving. We have people actually looking at the actual flat where we're living in. So see if they wanted to rent it after we leave, you know. We were pretty sure that we were going to find a place to live, somewhere where we can just, you know, rent a place and, you know, move as a family and start fresh, you know. How hard can it be from Elefsina to Nafplio? But we were wrong, and we were very mistaken, and we were completely defeated. And we couldn't find a place to stay. It became almost impossible to move to Nafplio. So, you know, it was some tough years, man. We waited for 2 more years before we actually managed to move here to Nafplio. We moved to Nafplio in 2020, in March of 2020 to be exact. And we moved right when the pandemic broke. We were traveling from Elefsina to Nafplio right before the first lockdown happened. We arrived here on a Saturday, and Monday the lockdown happened. The first lockdown. So we arrived here in Nafplio when the pandemic hit, and we were on lockdown here in this beautiful place. We were forever grateful that we managed to do it because everything seemed to be against us. Everything seemed to be against us. And you know, we were living at that point with boxes. Schools have already stopped in Elefsina. We couldn't do the transfer of our daughter's school because they were already not on lockdown, but schools had stopped completely, and we couldn't do the transfer of the papers. It was such a hard transition for us, but we managed to do it. But when we traveled, okay, from Elefsina to Nafplio, the roads were completely empty. And my wife actually had to call to the authorities of transport in order for us to get the okay to move from one city to another, because we didn't know what was happening. Nobody knew what was happening. It was such an odd moment to just move from one city to another. And yet, in the midst of all of this chaos, in the midst of a pandemic, we managed to move to Nafplio. Beautiful flat that we found a few weeks before, when everything seemed to be okay. We signed the contract, everything seemed in place. We have the keys. We have come from Elefsina to Nafplio to clean the flat, get everything ready. You know, the E has been connected, we have the internet, we're ready. And then we go back to Elefsina, and all of a sudden this talks about a virus and coronavirus. We're like, what the hell is going on here? We're about to move in the weekend, and everything unfolded so fast, like schools shut down. Immediately the news was just like, okay, this is really bad, nobody moves, nobody travels. And we're like, we're living in boxes. More stuff here to be moved. We had to change a little bit of the living room because of this as well. So we're in the middle of moving, and today's been announced here in Greece that There's going to be restrictions to go to the supermarket because people are going completely bonkers with the whole coronavirus thing. I'm living here with boxes. There's no way we can stay here. We have to go. It was such a bizarre experience. So weird. I mean, we couldn't say goodbye to my father-in-law because back then they were saying avoid being with elderly people if they're, of a certain age. And we just got in a car, and it's us in a car full of things with 2 kids and the truck with all of our belongings, our sofas and our beds and our things. It seemed like it was not going to happen up into the very last minute, man. There's nothing more beautiful than having a dream about something that you want. And in my case, my dream was to live here in Greece. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ, παιδιά, for all the love, for all the messages, all the comments. Σας αγαπώ πάρα πολύ. And I'll see you in another video, my friend.